Hey, this is Jeff, the guy from Reston here. How are you all doing? Um, Tonight we're going to discuss something, and that is what is MGTOW? Now, MGTOW is an acronym. It stands for Men Go Their Own Way. And this is a response by a number of men, not all men, but a number of men who have figured out what female nature is and how they don't want to deal with it anymore. And it just means that, unfortunately, ladies, we're walking away from you. We're walking away from commitment to you. We're walking away from financial support from you. We're walking away from being married to you, or walking away from fathering children with you, or anything else that has to do with you. And the reason why we're doing that is because we've realized it now in the 21st century that you, not as an individual, but as a whole, as a group of people, are not worth it. You're not worth us sacrificing our lives for. You're not worth us working and sweating our, sometimes 10, 12, 13, 14 hours a day working to bring home the money so that you have a roof over your head to live and a car to drive and a place to go shopping and various other amenities that you enjoy. But that is what MGTOW is all about. There are a number of people that speak on it. I like them all. But what we're saying here is, and this is really simple, and that is, this is not hatred of women. This is just that we've realized what you are, and we don't want to deal with it. We're not scared of you. We just don't want to deal with you. And that's pretty much what it boils down to, ladies. We don't want to deal with you. And as a man myself, I'm 54. I'll never enter a permanent relationship with a woman. Why? Because I can get what I want without having that kind of permanent relationship with a woman. Women today are so self-emancipated that they want to act like men and all through their 20s because they get the attention from men. And then when they hit about 29 or 30, then they start realizing that something's not right. They're not getting the same amount of attention they used to get from the guys. And they realize that, here's what's happening, Then they also get that, those female drives that make them want to have babies. And so then they're looking for anybody that will get them pregnant. Hence, look at today how many children are born out of wedlock today. And they're birthed by single women who are not married, who don't have fathers in the home. A lot of these women basically go on welfare while they're working to get public support to raise those children. Now look, and it's one thing if you're with the man and he was a dirtbag, because let's face it, not all guys are gold, and we're not. Some of us men are real dirtbags. I'll give you that. So, but of a woman who's been in a relationship with a man and she's done everything right, and the guy on the other hand's been a total loser, and and then he leaves her stuck holding the bag with 1, 2, or 3 kids because he doesn't want to man up with his responsibilities. Okay, fine. For a woman like that, yeah, that's what the system was for, was to create it to give you some help so that even though you're working, you're still not making enough money to provide. But for the rest of you who think that you don't need a man, you're not further from the truth, because I've talked to a number of women online who basically keep asking me, how come I'm not married? How come I don't want children or anything else for that matter? What it boils down to is this. They can't believe that a man in his 50s is not married, doesn't have any children. And, so they keep wanting to enter into a relationship. Well, here's something for you all to think about. Number one, how are you going to enter into a relationship if you don't want to basically meet with the person. You don't want to talk to the person. All you want to do is message through the messaging service to make yourself feel safe. That's not a relationship. That's just messaging online. I don't consider it a relationship. Now, a lot of women do, you know, but the idea of messaging people is to basically meet them later on. And I've met some women later on. Most of the women that I have met online basically do not turn out to be who they really are. And, that's a sad shame that you cannot come to the table. For those that are honest about who they are and everything, that's one thing. But most women today, basically, all they want is their handout. I've had a number of models who basically are glamour models. They, have very large attributes concerning their chest or their behind. And a lot of them basically just come up to me with their handout saying I should get them a gift card because that's how I show that I care for them. Well, that's not how a man shows he cares for a woman. A man shows how he cares for a woman by protecting her and keeping her safe. And that's what a man shows by caring, not by giving you money. Most men today, we're just tired of it and we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to deal with your shenanigans or anything else that you, as the female of the human species, want to do. And we're tired of it. In 1920, you were given the right to vote. From 1920 to 2019 or 2020 now, look what you've done as a species. You now have made it normal to be killing your unborn children. We have over, what is it? We have over 1 million abortions a year in this country. There's only 300 million people, and there's been over 1 million abortions in the year. That'd be 1 million more children being born, a year. And what are we doing to offset this? We're bringing in people from other countries who don't share our values, and violent crime has gone up drastically in many of the communities where these immigrants have come into because they do not share the same values as Americans. You can call me unfeeling or anything else for that matter, but I'm just trying to point out the obvious. I feel sorry for women today because, number one, they have been sold a bill of goods through feminism. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for women having equal rights under the law. They should be able to work. They should be able to own property. They should be able to do everything that a man can do. I have no problem with that under the law. But that doesn't mean that you keep repeating narratives that basically are decades old. Like, well, women only earn 77 cents on the dollar for every that a man works, which is a lie. That's the biggest lie in the world. Number one, it's about 92 cents on the dollar, and it's a wage earnings gap, not a salary gap. Go to any industry anywhere, and a woman who works the same job with a man gets paid the same wages. If you're a construction worker and you work on a highway, if you're doing road construction, you'll get paid exactly what the guy doing the road construction gets paid. I mean, it boils down to that. There is no wage gap. What makes men earn 8 cents more on a dollar than you is the fact that a guy is willing to sit down and or stay longer and work more hours than you because you have other liabilities and responsibilities that a man does not have. That's the reason why a man will always out earn you. It has nothing to do with a wage earnings gap. There was never a wage earnings gap, And I'll put it to you like this. Most women from the age to about the age of 30 out earn every man that's working. I remember I was about 21, 22, and I remember I met this girl in a bar. She was about maybe 2 or 3 years older than I was at the time. I think I was 20. I don't know. I was about 23. I was about 23. Anyways, about this girl, she was about 25. She had been working for a number of years. I just got out of the Marine Corps, so I wasn't making a lot of money then. And I think I worked for a delivery service. I was making about maybe 20,000 a year, if that. Um, anyways, this girl was making she was 25 years old. She was making about $40,000 a year. I would have loved to make $40,000 a year, but like I said, she earned more. Now, later on, I got into a higher paying grade of job and started earning more money, and I steadily improved my income over time. And I went from about $30,000 a year to about $75,000 a year until I retired and quit my job. But I also had other sources of income too that I was bringing in. So if you think about it, by the time I was 52, I was already earning in excess of $100,000 working 3 different jobs. So the thing is, and this is the thing is, most women usually when they hit 30, they're usually trying to be married, or they're trying to basically birth a child by then, because their biological clock is ticking and everything else like that. And working a job is not the most important thing to them. Birthing a child is. And women basically that's the way they're wired. That's the way they think. Now, there are some women to this exception, you know, but for the most part, no. And for the rest of anybody else that thinks that I hate women for what I've just said, I'm just pointing these things out that are obvious. This is something that it takes men to notice when it comes to women. And I didn't realize this till, oh, it took me nearly 50 years to figure it out. That's why I turned MGTOW, because I realized that I was never going to be happy. There was going to be no woman that I was ever going to marry that would keep me happy, or, I would be happy because of being with this woman. You know, the drive for love and the passion for love, I mean, I still have it. I still want it. I mean, it would have been nice if I had met somebody when I was in my mid 30s, and you know, she helped out. She helped out here and there. We planned to have a family together. We went and bought a house. We could have bought a house together. All these other good things would have happened. But since the changing of female nature from the 1980s when I was a young man all the way up until 2020, what's the point of it now? Like I said, I don't need to get married to enjoy what a married couple has, because I can get that from any woman anywhere, just about. And women today wear their sexuality very cheaply, and you know, you ask them. Oh, here's something for you. Ask a Muslim man that comes from a Muslim country, even a wealthy one. He'll tell you straight up. American women are good to have sex with, but that's about all they're good for. And he's right. You wear your sexuality very cheaply. You put it out on the sleeve right there for everyone to basically come after you with, and you turn around and you look at these things that American women do these days. And if you really want to know something, more and more women are on Instagram from about the age of 16, as young as 16, all the way up into their 30s and 40s, trying to exploit themselves on their sexuality. And they dig having hundreds of guys send them saying you're beautiful, you're cute, and everything else like that. I stopped doing that. And the reason why I stopped doing that was because, number one, they know they're pretty, or they wouldn't be up there on Instagram. So as far as MGTOW goes, I think men today have realized that the value that women have placed on themselves is a false value, and we no longer need to abide by that value anymore or hold that in some kind of um, honor anymore. And women today are running, where are all the good men? The good men have always been here. We just don't want to put up with you anymore. And that's pretty much what it boils down to. So, after what I've said and what I've offered as a ideas for you, please send a response. Tell me what you think. Let me know what's going on. Uh, anyways, y'all take care and have a nice evening. It's 12:22 a.m. I need to go to bed. Good night.